And we're back. It's another Friday, and we're not doing 2 episodes this week like we did last week, but we're going to have a really good one, I think, because we are joined today by Philip and Mads, who's back. Hey, Mads and Philip.
Hey.
Hey, guys. Mads, who's back.
Yeah, Mads is back. As I kind of titled this episode as a little bit of a homage to your Slave and Eagle days.
Thank you.
Yeah, but we're going to be talking about the back office today. I think that's a topic that's been discussed a lot recently, and it's great to see, of course, with Mads back as well, that it's getting more and more weight behind it, and there's going to be a big reinvention of some things in the kind of near future. We'll talk about it soon. Talk about it in a bit.
Yeah. But maybe let's kick off from something what we also observed this week, because we had a Skrift release this week with 2 great articles shared there. Let me share my screen to highlight that again. If anyone missed that, definitely it's worth to just revisit the Skrift website and just check it out. First of the articles were shared by Matt Brailsford, and it's titled "The Challenge of .NET Core for Umbraco Package Developers." And yeah, Callum, we've been mentioning it multiple times recently. Also talked with Andy and highlighted his great series on how he approached migration path for his recent work.
Yeah.
And here Matt shared some of the problems which are ahead of the package creators, and some of the approaches which can be taken there. Really good article for all of us who are working and thinking about future with our packages and work items. For
Matt and Andy have both got very interesting different perspectives on this, because of course Andy's maintaining a commercial product for Umbraco. Matt, of course, has a big commercial product for Umbraco, but also has his community packages too. And it's a big question of, I think there's not going to be a one size fits all approach to all of this. Like it's going to be different for everyone. And did you see this week, Matt suggested starting like a package developers podcast or something, where he discusses some of these things, the challenges that him, maybe Kevin Jump, the people that are building huge Umbraco packages, the challenges that they're going through this. I'd love to see it. This article kind of got me a bit excited for what could be on the horizon. I think we're going to have an interesting few months where packagers start finding their feet and getting used to the way stuff's done in .NET Core.
Yeah. And still we are exploring how other package creators are doing it. As you said, there's no one way to rule it all, but there is always a way which we can use and be inspired from. And yeah, it's great to see how Matt dealt with it in the vendor and how he plans to approach it when it comes to versioning, migrations, and stuff like that. So definitely check it out. And the second article was from Chris Demeny, and it was less technical but more related with the situation which we are all facing right now, which is of course related with all the all the lockdowns, not deadlines, deadlines as well, but all the lockdowns, deadlines, stress, and problems here. And I think. Again, I'm trying to be vocal about it. All of us are suffering through these problems. Right now, Poland is on top of European cases numbers in COVID. So it's not something what we should be proud of, but we are really having the tough times with another round of the lockdown. So if anyone suffers, if anyone has problems, try to check it out. How it can be approached, how it can be partially solved, and also don't be afraid of reaching out for people and just be aware that there are other people who are also suffering the same issues. I really like this article, to be honest. And guys, if we are having you here, how are you doing and dealing with the lockdowns and remote work? Matt, where are you located right now? And because we spoke with Philip already.
Yeah. So I'm working from home, as most of you also. I'm located a little bit outside of Odense. I've actually taken on my youngest daughter's room, kicked her out. She's only 1.5, so she can sleep in our bedroom as well. So now I'm moving my stuff back in here. She kicked me out of this office when she got born, So now I'm reclaiming it again for this lockdown. So it's a small battle, but it's working out fine. There are some challenges, but overall it's nice to be around the family.
Yeah. Philip, how about you?
I saw people saying that the one thing that they learned from lockdown is actually they don't hate their family as much as they thought. And I think that's quite amusing. You know, being forced to spend so much time with them. You go, oh, actually, they're quite nice people.
Yeah, that's true. And Philip, what about you? You're still
Yeah, I'm still at home, sitting in my bedroom 16 hours a day or whatever, like sleeping here and then working here. So it's I desperately want to go out. No, things are actually looking better in Denmark. So like I actually hope I can go visit Sebastian in the Copenhagen office maybe next week if things are getting better. So I mean, it's opening up in Denmark. So that's pretty nice.
Hope for good weather and a Warpigs visit.
Yeah, Warpigs is still closed. I think it's they're starting open outdoor serving in like 2 weeks or something. So I'll definitely come back when it opens.
In the UK, pubs are allowed to open from Monday, so that's where I'll be as soon as the clock strikes. I don't know what time they'll open, but I'll be there.
Yeah, we are all going through the same issues as I can see.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. If we are on this topic, and you are here, of course, we said that we will be talking about RFCs, back office, and your current work and plans for it. So, can you tell us more? What is what is on the top of the agenda right now? What is the main topic today from your perspective when it comes to back office and future of Umbraco?
Yeah, maybe I'll give you the overview, and then Mads can dive into the API part. So, just to start up, like, we have this 3-part process, right, where we started out by defining the UI library, and we're actually working on it now, and it's going really well. And we just closed the RFC yesterday, I think, and that's been really good. And then there's part 2, where Mads is the lead on that, about the new APIs for how you extend back office, and I think that's mostly what we'll be talking about today. And then probably by August or September or something like that, we'll actually start implementing a new back office. So those are the 3 parts. Yeah, and as I said, like the UI library, it's going really well. I think we have I think last time I checked, like between 20 and 25 components already made, and that are. I mean, we still have some things that we haven't figured out all the way, but it's looking really nice. And I expect that we ship a 1.0 of the UI library maybe summer-ish. So maybe even before we start the implementation of
I was going to ask, is that the plan? That actually, I mean, we've discussed this on umbraCoffee before, haven't we? That the UI library is effectively a completely separate thing from the back office. It could be used in cloud, portal, and maybe in our own projects too. But is the idea very much to get that released and out there before it's even being used in the CMS?
Yes. Absolutely. So we're starting. I started dogfooding it in one of my own pet projects and started using it already. And I think we'll start to use it in the cloud portal and stuff before we even start the back office project. Yeah. So I mean, the idea is that the more experience we can get before we actually start putting it in back office, the more ready, the more complete it will be.
Yeah. Nice. And do you think? I'm jumping ahead here. Do you think we could see the back office improvements happening in a phased approach, or are we going to just see one big drop of everything? Are we going to see the UI library kind of slowly being integrated into the back office, or are we going to just see everything in one go?
So I think there's 2 answers to that question. One is I think we will slowly start to use the UI library in the existing back office. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that we can run new back office and old back office kind of together. We can't do just the content section and not do the rest of it. So I think it's gonna be that. It's gonna be a big bang kind of launch when we launch the new back office. But I think we will start using the UI library in the old back office or the current back office, especially. For the reason that we want package authors and everybody to start getting used to working with them, so it's going to be more familiar when they move over.
That's what I was getting at. So I think as soon as we can get it into the hands of package authors, the better. Of course, if it's publicly available, they can add it as a dependency anyway. But if it's in the core, fantastic. Yeah. And I know that well, today we got a nice sneak peek from Runa, thank you. But the announced today was the next RFC, the next phase of this back office evolution, and a large part of that focus is on package developers, isn't it?
Yep. Mads, you want to talk about the API part?
Yeah. So today we published a blog post. You got it there, which will be the kickoff of what we call part 2 of future-proofing the back office. It's a really long title for that project. And part 2 will be about defining the extension API of the back office. So we talk in this blog post a little bit about what the extension API is. It's kind of an abstract thing to get around, but as a package developer or an agency doing extensions for Umbraco, it's how we want to build property editors, how we want to build dashboards. It's the state management of the CMS and all of these things that we use to actually build on top of what the back office is. And we're going to do this part of the project a little different than we did the first part. So now we have a project that will end up with an RFC, where in the RFC we will describe and show a prototype of how we think the back office API extension API should work. And so this project will come in. I've made four stages. The first one, you can say that I want to be able to explore the current API. So doing a deep dive into, we have some documentation on our today about how you extend Umbraco. We have the back office API documentation, which is all of the Angular components and services and all of that stuff. And then we have the back office training course. And then I want to get an overview of, can we categorize some of these elements and can we put them into different sections so we can start looking at individual parts of the API. So there will be something like, how do we talk to the backend of Umbraco? Not how the backend works, but if you want to, we use a lot of APIs and endpoints to retrieve backend data. So that should be a nice way to do that. There's the entire service layer, which is how do we do? We don't do that a lot today, but the state management and how do we get the back office to talk together, the different component parts, and then we have all of the helper methods that are needed to build the CMS. And then, of course, we have all the official extension points of the back office. So property editors, dashboards, sections, you name it, infinite editors, all of that stuff that we need to figure out how should that work.
Sure. So forgive me for saying this, but I think for the average person working with the back office, even if you've done custom back office stuff, there isn't really any kind of coherent API, at least for extension, from an extension view. Like there's services there. Like a prime example of a probably quite a good service is this editor service to pull out dialogues and different editors and stuff. And it's something that probably packages or anyone building some kind of custom editor has to use at some point. And it's a pretty well-defined API. But the rest of the components and it kind of all just blurs into one a little bit. Yeah. You've got a few services for dealing with the calls to the back end, but it all sort of starts to meld into one. And I would really like to see like extensibility actually at the core of whatever these APIs are that are going to be defined are. So, you mentioned dashboards, sections, etc., which is a really interesting thing for me because currently all of those get registered as either in the package manifest or in C#, and that's a bit inaccessible. So I wonder, are we going to potentially see ways that we could configure some of those things directly in JavaScript, perhaps?
It is a good question.
It's a question. I'm not pressuring you for an answer.
That's what we need to figure out.
This is probably for what this stages are, and I think we all spotted some of the potential use cases or nice use cases which might be opened thanks to this refactor and rework of APIs in general. And I really liked how Trello did it, for example, because Trello has API first approach, and they don't have anything working in their solution what is not done by APIs. So thanks to that, they are just deciding which methods are public, which methods are private, and stuff like that. So everything can be then used by their developers or any developers who want to utilize their services. And here, I think what I would definitely suggest is also like API everything, and thanks to that, it will be like easier to decide what is public, what is private, what is needed maybe, and what is not needed completely for anyone else besides Umbraco itself. But that's kind of something what we would love to probably see there.
I assume as well, given that this process is being split into kind of distinct parts where you've got components from a UI point of view and you've got an API layer effectively, it's going to massively reduce the temptation to have tight coupling between them, because just you won't be able to, right? They're not going to be able to be tightly coupled, and inherently that's going to make you abstract things out, think through an API, make sure it's reusable and accessible, which is
again, Callum, building the WordPress back office to use Umbraco services will be easier than ever before. Dreams to come true. Of course, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Really?
For another April Fools. Yeah. We will do it. But yeah, that's great to see that these stages are open, and exactly, Mats, what you said, the expertise is needed. All of the things which we're right now discussing, all of the ideas, all of the dreams, even, or stupid or less stupid dreams about using APIs in the back office can help, and definitely will help, right?
Yeah. So an important part of this project is that we have a lot of ideas of how we think the back office should work, but we want to involve as much of the community that also have ideas. So we have made a couple of different ways to be able to participate in this, and one of them is that we have created this new discussion board. It's part of a repository, so we use GitHub as the discussion. Yes, there you have it, where you can share anything that you would like about any ideas, any thoughts of how you believe that the API should work. And we will go through all of these and listen to what you have to say. And then we have the other part of how you can contribute to this. That's to share all your, in this case, we've called them hacks, but every time where you had to do something in the back office where you thought, now I'm being a little bit creative. Now I'm outside of what I want to do. And these are the areas that we want to discover and figure out if we can include some of these in a future API or think about these in a future API so it can be more flexible.
That's going to be an interesting one. I think a lot of some of the resistance we get from the existing API is because of the way that Angular does some things.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely been some dirty, interesting things you've had to do with Angular to get stuff working. But then, as you say, hacks. But also, I've in the past replaced entire components basically just so I can have some extension point that I need. So I guess here this is a perfect springboard for those discussions of I really wish this was extensible. Can we bake that into the API somehow? It's a repository, right? It's going to have code in it. So if someone wanted to pull request an idea, I guess that's on the table.
Not currently. It isn't the plan. So we needed a place where we could do the discussion. We talked about but right now GitHub discussions is a thing. So we wanted to try it out and figure out it. I think it's a good platform to have these discussions. It might be a place where we can share prototypes at some point, but for now it's the discussion board we use it for.
Nice, that makes sense. It's good to see GitHub discussions being used out in the wild for at least the first time in Umbraco land.
I can tell you that Sebastian is working on like how does this fit in the CMS repository and like what's the role of it there as well.
Yeah,
but I think it's really nice that we can now have all the ideas as discussions, and we can actually link source code to them once we start doing it. Once we get started on prototyping and stuff, it makes it a lot easier when it's actually all in GitHub.
Definitely. And you can turn the discussions into issues later, can't you?
Yeah.
So
you can turn them both ways.
Yeah. So like when you actually come to building and implementing things, you can just put discussions on your backlog and already be there.
Exactly.
Cool. You've got one other way of contributing, which I think is not quite announced yet, right? But we'll squeeze the information out. A community team, a new back office community team. This is something that's been discussed many times, but has never really come to fruition. What's the plan?
That's true. I think this might be the perfect time to actually to start up a back office community team. So the community team will work in two parts. It's not mentioned in the blog post here, but there will be a blog post next week announcing the community team, and you can apply for it. So in this part of the project, so during the defining the extension API phase, we will need some community members who will volunteer to be a kind of advisory board or sounding board. So when we build all of these prototypes and start doing some real code, we would love that someone from the community would validate those ideas, test those ideas, and give us feedback. So we kind of are on track on what we actually want to do. So it will be a community team in the first part that helped us with that.
And so I guess that community team, you want a good mix of people who've pushed the back office to its limits, people that have built, packages that are widely used, and I guess some JavaScript with kids. People that, can really nicely architect a good JavaScript solution, I guess.
Exactly.
Nice. It's really good to see that there's, different people with different experience in the community can actually get involved in that. It's not just a hard and fast, got to be a JavaScript expert.
And again, we've seen a good outputs of the works from the community teams already, so it's definitely working. And right now, you've Matt said that the form to submit the people will be available next week. So we are just right now informing that there is a form coming out, and hopefully everyone will have a time to think about it, because again, it's kind of really great way to participate and just help in community spirit there. Plus observing what other teams were doing, it's like a great to see that it really has a big impact on the shape of the product for the future. So, and here it's even more because the back office is the essential and front end exposed part of the Umbraco for the usage and the most users who are editors there. So we will definitely share the form link next week. So
and then as Matt said, the idea is that the team then, like, once the implementation actually starts, so late summer, the team will kind of change its role a little bit and become more like we've known from the Unicore team, like a traditional project team that works with implementation and code reviews and all of that stuff. So at that time, there will be a window for existing members to leave if they don't want to be part of it anymore, and we'll open up for applications again late summer.
Nice.
Yeah, so fingers crossed for really great progress on that, and it's great to see again that's I can't remember what was the name of let's make back office great again. That was the was the mission back in the days. So right now it's like completely new mission on rebuilding it to be even greater than great again. So. Yeah, that's cool. Awesome. So let's maybe talk about other things which also happened this week, and we can wrap it up at the end of the episode. Of course, if you will have any links and call to actions or anything else to be shared, we can definitely include that. We also had some meetups this week, and Callum, we can start probably from highlighting the Leeds meetup, which we've mentioned multiple times again back in the days. And I don't know how many people turned out finally. Do
There
any of
was
you know?
75 or so signed
Yeah,
up. I
something
didn't
about
manage to make it, unfortunately, but it looked
Yeah.
incredible. And I know Dennis says in his blog post here
70.
that he submitted the talk to Code Garden and he didn't want a recording going out in case that scuppered his chance of getting accepted to Code Garden, but there'll be a recording regardless either way. So at some point, I'd love to see the recording of this.
But why I think we can talk more about this meetup, because from my perspective, it was a great example of how event can be self-promoted. I think that Dennis did a great job here, plus other community members also did a great job of promoting this event, and it resulted in many people joining from various other communities. So we definitely, and all of us and all of the people who are organizing meetups and speaking at meetups, can learn from this one, how to invite people to be present on the meetup like that. And I'm also waiting this recording to see and catch up. And there are some other meetups which are scheduled right now ahead of time. So yeah, maybe take the lesson learned from this one and promote the other ones more. The first on the agenda is Australian user Umbraco meetup, which is on 14th of April. Yeah. And there's a Robert Foster speaking about block list editor and some things what can be done with the block list. So another hot and a new topic there, which affects all of us if we want to be up to date with the opportunities and approaches to build the content in the most modern way in Umbraco back office. So yeah, let's invite people to participate in that one. And the last one at the same day, but definitely different time zone, Callum, right?
Yeah, very different time zone. One's a breakfast one, one's a dinner one.
Yeah, so this is the one which we've already talked about a little, the job edition meetup, on which Adam Bolton will help people to tailor their presence, CVs, and everything else what can help them in building better career or better presence in the web, and not only to maybe get easier entrance to something in the future. And that's from the meetups perspective, if I'm correct. Yep, because we have the next release section, which is the biggest section for today's umbraCoffee. And maybe of course, we have you guys here today, so we can kick off with Umbraco RC release, which was also announced this week. So Philip, can you tell us more about this RC quickly?
Yeah, so I'm very happy to announce that this is a kind of boring release. And that's that's on purpose. I mean, that's the whole idea of the release cadence, or like the fixed releases are that they're small, so that they're super easy to upgrade, and then you get a set of smaller features and a set of bug fixes and all that. You get all of that for free. It's really easy to get started. So this should be a pretty trivial release for most people. There are a couple of things, copy member type, and there are some nice UX changes, but I mean overall it's according to plan that these are very small releases. And I mean this is also a pretty good example of, like, we as you may have seen on the I think it's on the roadmap, but at least we've talked about it before, like we're working on a new media picker, right? And the media picker was, I mean, this close to getting into 8.13, but at the end of it, we decided we don't feel it's quite there yet, so we'll push it. And normally that would have either pushed the release, or we would have said, okay, we'll release it in 6 months. But now it's nice that we can just say it's not a problem because it'll go out in 6 weeks. So I think Niels finalized it today, or at least he's more or less close to it. So I'm pretty confident that it'll be part of 8.14. And 8.14 is so if there's 1 week to 8.13 is out, then there's, I guess, 7 weeks until 8.14 is out. So I think that's really nice.
Mm. Yeah. And I guess just to say here, even though this is as you described it, a more boring release, it doesn't mean that people shouldn't test the release candidate. It's
no, absolutely not.
Still give it a try, but maybe makes that testing a little bit easier.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole that's the idea, that when you get an RC and there's a million things to test, it's very hard to do. Here we just really want people to upgrade it and see that it doesn't break anything for them. And I mean, that's probably the most testing that most people will do, and that will help us a lot. We're changing one dependency. I think we're removing the HTML sanitizer altogether this time again. I mean, of course, that shouldn't really break anything, but we marked it as a breaking change because it potentially could. So I mean, look out for that. And maybe if you're using HTML sanitizer, make sure that you're using your own and not depending on ours.
Nice.
I just wanted to say that probably no one from the developers will give a guarantee that this is a bug-free release or something like that. Because if it's not bugs which were already there might be something else what exactly can break in various solutions, and all of us should definitely test it out before the final release and report back. We've been mentioning it multiple times, but we'll mention it again. The RCs are for us. Right, it's like it's for us who uses Umbraco, and to get back and not complain later that something is broken, because that's the period in which we can complain, and which in the nicer word sounds report bugs. So yeah, we definitely need to do that. So that's the big release. But we also had the form.
This is still a big release.
I don't know if we didn't mention the release. Yeah.
We discussed that it was coming, but this was a big one. And it's funny, actually. This was a big one. We knew this one was really big because it's got all of the stuff that Andy's been just like the low-hanging fruits. He described it, just trying to get those in there. Interestingly, a number of small things did get broken in it. And there was a release candidate for this. And again, they didn't get found in the release candidate process. But maybe it just shows that actually that may be more boring 8.13 release with less stuff in it, but it's kind of strictly defined, is a nice way of working. And this, where a lot of stuff was crammed in, there's more risk that things go wrong. I mean, nothing high risk, right? There's a patch coming on Tuesday, I think, for it.
Yeah, and we did actually also catch a couple of things in the RC for Forms 8.7. So I mean, it's not like no one tried it out, and like we haven't heard any big problems back from the migration, which was the thing we were mostly worried about. So I think we're in a pretty good state.
Nice.
Okay, so that was the big release, really. Yeah, that's definitely needs to be tested.
That's the big one.
And I'm acing again, so sorry. But there was a community release which also followed up the updates in this release. So the UCaptcha package released by Aaron Sadler had a fix to be working with Umbraco Forms 8.7 as well.
I think the idea is that this fix won't make a difference on Forms 8.7.1, but in theory it should also work on prior versions. So that's cool.
That's cool. And we had another big release from the community team, and this was the Contentment 1.3 release from Lee, with some new features and changes and bug fixes as well for the Contentment package. And anyone who uses it definitely will benefit from this upgrade. And it has pretty good fixes for various things.
A new code editor, which is nice, and because we've already, I think, if I understand this correctly, it just wraps the inbuilt. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe Lee's chosen a different one. I know at some point he was exploring just using the inbuilt code editor and kind of surfacing that as a property editor. Nice documentation there. But
nice placeholders here.
Yeah. But again, like there's always some time where you need to drop code into a page, like a blog code snippet or something. This will be great. It's kind of Lee's leaving us very few reasons not to install Contentment at the moment. We've been using it on a few projects, and it's like it makes loads of sense. Maybe again, this can all feed back into these back office discussions where Lee's taken kind of core concepts and wrapped them to make some more advanced editing experiences, and maybe there's things we can do to make that easier in the core. I don't know. Yeah,
absolutely. We really want people like Lee to be active in this process and let us know, share their hacks or like experiences of what they're doing and what they wish they could be doing or what they wish were easier. I mean, contentment is super sweet, and of course, that's something we're looking at as well.
And Lee also shared that he accepts PRs for screenshots. So if anyone wants to contribute to the docs, definitely it's a great way to help each other. So yeah, nice. Not only for Hacktoberfest in this case. Another big release on the agenda, which we mentioned also in the past, and this is a vendor 1.6 release. And Callum, did you already upgrade your project to 1.6?
Yep, upgraded the other day. It's funny actually. So this also fixed a few things in some custom vendor plugins that I've built. So leverage those. And the order printing thing is really nice because we've got something kind of similar, but for generating PDFs, like printable PDFs for vendor orders. So again, had a little play with that. Yeah, good release.
Yep. And following that, there is a release of a package extending vendor with the reviews. And Bjarne released the new version of this package, which is now 0.3. So yeah, anyone who uses the releases package for vendor can also benefit from this upgrade and use it on the project. Shannon also released some new stuff for Articulate package. And it has various new things. I didn't follow all of them, but I saw that it's really great extended version of the Articulate package. And still, I'm kind of looking for a use case to use it finally in the V8 version, because I haven't used it in the V8 at all. But yeah, it's great to see the really regular updates of Articulate, because new features and fixes are coming really often right now.
I think Shannon had a week off. He clearly needed something to do.
Yeah, might be the case. So yeah, definitely check it out if you are looking or using the blog engine for Umbraco package. Next on our list is responsive image picker. For I haven't seen that, to be honest. Callum,
yeah, did you see that? This is Ryan's first Umbraco package that he's published, and I think it's subtly different from the one you've done, Marcin, with the crop picker. But it's I think it gives you a different image cropper per crop.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, cool. But it's really interesting, and still, it just proves that there's no perfect way of handling these images right now in the modern cross-browser, cross-devices world. And yeah, it's great to see some other people approaches, and I'm definitely going to check it out in the details. So yeah, still, if you are working with images.
You mentioned the media picker, and I think this kind of images and picking images and crops has always been a nice, a nasty area. And even if not as part of the media picker, I'd love to see that as something that gets like some love next, because as Marcin, you've got a solution. I've got a solution for cropping. I know that Lars Erik has done a lot with image cropper as well. It's like, we're all having to invent solutions. There must be argument for something in core.
And I've shared a tweet one day that some area in our project get really messy if we found that we had 40 or 45 crop aliases for one image. And imagine how it looks in back office, right? If all of them are different sizes, different ratios, and stuff like that. So we always dreamed about the more love the delivered to the media section. So starting from picker, getting probably next to the media section, and hope to see more of that. And really, I'm not a designer. We are just a backend developers here, but help is definitely needed there as well. So anyone who has an idea how to wrap it up can definitely help.
With the new media picker, you can have local crops for a data type. So it might clean up some of the 45 crops that are not needed for everything.
That's nice. Really exciting. Local crops is exactly what we want. It's exactly what we want.
Nice. Great to know that. I wasn't following that. The next package was a dashboard for scheduled content to be published. And still a small improvement, but I think most of the editors who are working with the scheduled pages can benefit from that, because it gathers all of the pages which will be published in the future. with the ability of preview them in the one place. So great work here, great small package, an improvement from Adam here. And it leads us to the section which we want to also describe more, which is the Umbraco Package Award competition, because we mentioned this great new releases, great new packages, bigger, smaller, small improvements and bigger improvements, and still there is a time to submit our nominations for Umbraco Package Awards. And I must admit again that I didn't do it yet. So I'm using this umbraCoffee great reminders time to remind myself as well about it. So if there's anyone else in front of your computer right now who wanted to submit some nominations and didn't do that as I didn't, just do it today or when the deadline ends.
It's
12
midday Thursday, but midday Central European time. So that's UTC +2, GMT +1. Yeah, that's confusing. So, do it on Wednesday.
Better do it today. Better do it today. You never know. You never know. This damn time zones are always causing you problems.
Yeah. And of course, don't fear to submit yourself because it's anonymous. No one will know. Don't fear about nominating other people. And as I kind of said last week, try and nominate. Like I really hope, and I think it was mentioned in the chat by David last week. I hope that different categories of packages get recognized. Of course, we know that the big commercial packages, vendor, usync, etc., are awesome, and I'd love to see them get recognized for that. But also, I'd love to see someone's first ever package recognized as well. So submit some of the more obscure ones too. I think that would be really exciting to see the result.
Yeah, exactly. And some blog posts which we wanted to also highlight. We want to start from Karol's blog about friendly APIs in Umbraco v9. And again, it's just another piece of content proves that some great stuff can be built on top of even alpha versions of products like Umbraco in this case. And Karol just shared a great and really full of information post here how APIs can be created for this version of the content. And I also remember some great talks from Karol about the headless approaches there. So I believe this is a kind of output and combination of the experiences done for the for these approaches. So if
Carol and Warren were
combines
discussing this. Carol and Warren were discussing this about what's the approach for the best approach for APIs in .NET Core. And I know Warren, they were just saying, we'll share some notes. So I guess this is Carol sharing some notes. But also, and you mentioned headless-esque stuff. Carol's got a whole Blazor app that talks to this API as well, which isn't featured in this blog post. But yeah, just doing some amazing things with .NET Core already. I'm still yet to be sold on Blazor, but I appreciate that it's cool.
So if I can say a note on this, I think the idea of Swagger for APIs is pretty great. I mean, that's been proven for a long time, but I think it's we would like to be able to have at least Swagger definitions for all of the endpoints in backoffice, and I mean that's what she's doing, right? Or at least that's what she inadvertently did. But the cool part would be that we can actually take those and then convert those into TypeScript definitions, so that we can actually have strongly typed API responses go directly into the strongly typed front-end code, and that will absolutely make the back office implementation much more solid, and we will actually be able to have a build that breaks once a back office API changes or something like that. So we can, do something by accident. So I think that's going to be pretty important for the new back office.
That's an awesome take and perspective. I think you can totally see the value in that. It's going to be an interesting kind of chicken and egg one though. Do you define the client side API first and how people interact with it, and then make the back end work with that, or are you then restricted by whatever your back end is and having to consume that in the front end? Right now, I mean, I think God only knows what API endpoints exist in the back office. There's loads of them. They're not documented. No one really knows.
Yeah, and I think for a while
security scanners are know it very, very well.
I think for a while,
Not
least
that
while
many.
we work on the new back office, I think we will have a mixture of old endpoints and new endpoints, probably at the same time. More or less giving us the same data, but so that we can actually have both the new and the old back office running at the same time on the same, on the same Umbraco installation, and that's probably not something we're going to support like as something you should do as a developer. But while we develop it, we're going to need to, and I think that will that will put us in a situation a little bit in between what you said, Callum. Like some APIs we're probably going to use as they are, and some we're probably going to twist and then eventually drop the old ones, right?
But it would be good to see. Maybe this is something that can be a discussion, maybe not as part of the back office thing, but something that can be started about. How do we start documenting those back office APIs endpoints, and let's get some community.
I think it's a good question. Like, should we document them? Like, do we want people to interact with the back office API endpoints like directly, or do we want them to interact with some kind of JavaScript API where we can then implement how it actually talks to the back office? And that philosophy thing, that's something we need to discuss and agree on. Because one of them we need to agree on, because otherwise we'll have two levels of
completely different
where we can break stuff, right? So we want to be able to have only one place where we should consider breaking changes.
And 10 versions of the client libraries for working with APIs. That's true. Yeah, definitely a topic for the discussion. Another blog post which we wanted to highlight is a back of Community Corner series on Owen blog, and this time it's covering the story of Ollie story and some questions, some answers from the community members. In this case, new series kickoff, new community members to be highlighted. And I can't remember if Owen had some form to nominate people, but if not, definitely there's worth to nominate more people to see stories of the community members to be shared there. And we will always highlight that as well. And there was one more blog post which we want to mention, and it was from Sam, who built the Xstatic package back in the days. And here Sam also shared 5 cool things he used to build it, and how community packages such as, for example, UE-O-Matic or migrations and documentation of migrations there helped him to really deliver this kind of great set of functionalities to work with the static sites generated and pushed to various destinations. So if you haven't used Xstatic, just check it out and explore how it was built. Some great libraries highlighted here. And also I remember how we were discussing it with Sam back in the days, how quickly he was able to extend it with some of the new functionalities and new destinations. So here it's all to be seen. And pull request of the week, Callum, your section.
And it goes to Warren this week, and I love Warren for this because it's been on my to-do list. The fact that in the new .NET Core installer, .NET New template, you should be able to run a command and install everything. So set up a user with a password, give it a database connection string, do the whole unattended install entirely from the command line. So you could have, some DevOps pipeline or something that you run that spins up an entirely new project with a password. And it bootstraps the database, just gets everything up and running. And it's super handy for when you're running in a code space or one of these types of environments where you just want an Umbraco install to be kind of there and ready to go. And Warren's done it. This is a really, really cool pull request, and I really hope it gets merged into. Of course, we've not mentioned it on today's episode yet, but there was on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, can't remember. The
office hours.
The office hours. Yeah, and we'll share the link when the recording's up on YouTube, I guess.
I think it just came up just before we started.
Maybe the recording of that.
Yeah, but again, things that can be discussed. It's as part of that.
But yeah, thanks to items like that, we are getting really, really close to the situation where we can spin up the whole new Umbraco environment installation straight from our tools like DevOps and so on, and just be able to test it out in the wild. So great highlight and great work from Warren and the whole team there. on the new .NET Core version. And 2 last things on our list: new podcast episode from Candid contribution team titled "Coding in Someone Else's Kitchen." So if you didn't see the new release of the podcast episodes from the great community team here, just make sure that you will check it out. And last but not least, it's something from me personally. I which is didn't loading for me because I didn't want to push the pressure on my traffic and bandwidth here. But I mentioned the PDF which I was working on back in the days. No one know that I've published it yet, so you are first ones who can access that. But yeah, the PDF is ready. It has some 10 Azure services described there with some details and hidden bits which I've discovered and we've discovered as a team, technical team. So feel free to grab it and see if it can help you working with Azure and Umbraco and other services which can be run as website applications. And links for all of the stuff which we've mentioned today, which is a long list, you need to believe us, will be included down below the episode on YouTube, as usual. And that's all from our list today. So guys, do you want to add anything to that, or remind about the most important action which you are expecting right now for the community?
Sure. Go read the blog post first and foremost about the part 2. And if you got any ideas or any thoughts about how we should do this API, add to the discussion on the repository. And think about joining the community team.
The blog post coming on the 14th, so Wednesday next week.
Yep.
Awesome.
Cool, awesome. So thank you guys for bringing it all closer to us and describing some more details behind this idea and some further steps of back office restructuring project. Or future, I can't remember this long name right now. So, but we know what's going on there. Hopefully after this episode, and as usual, if there is anyone who watches us right now and feels like it's something what can help their teammates, colleagues, parents, and whoever else might benefit from the content shared here, be sure to share this episode, share the link to that. Always subscribe if you want to be notified about the new episodes, and as usual. We'll see each other on the next Friday, highlighting the next bunch of news and items from the Umbraco community. So thank you, everyone, again. Have a great rest of the day and the weekend ahead. And yeah, see you next week then.
See you.